All right, so we gotta do some exercises for your lower back pain, right? You probably spend a lot of time sitting down. So the idea is to make sure that your stomach is nice and strong and that we're activating your glutes on the down opposite section, right? So stomach, ass, opposite neighbors, still borrow sugar from each other, got it? And then you probably have a really tight issue on the front of your hips right here. And then you also got a tight issue on your back, right? Opposite neighbors, also borrow sugar. So you see how it stretch on those two, that side, and then it's strength on the other side, right? So it makes that like X across your body. So we'll start the strengthening stuff first, and then we'll get into the other stuff. First one we're gonna do is a glute bridge, right? So we're gonna take a band, something like this, or you can do the rubber one, all right? I'm gonna strap it up and above the knees, okay? We're gonna get into that glute bridge position, okay? And lay down. Before we move anything or go anywhere, what I wanna do is I want you to arch your back up, and I want you to push it down to the floor, okay? Arch your back, push it down to the floor, okay? Arch your back, push it down to the floor, and then relax. And this relaxed position is now your neutral position, okay? So from this neutral position, this is where you're gonna stay. We're gonna take our hands, we're gonna put them underneath our rib cage, okay? Underneath our rib cage, we're gonna push those muscles up into our fingers, okay? That's gonna lock down our rib cage. And then we're gonna take our hands down by where our hips, our hip bones are. We're gonna run them in a little bit, right below, almost like below where our navel is. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna push our stomach up into that area. So now we got these guys engaged, pushing up, and we got these guys engaged, pushing up, okay? Now that we have that locked in, we're gonna start to push. We're gonna lift our toes up. We're gonna push through our heels, and then keeping all that engaged, and we're gonna thrust our hip bones towards the ceiling, okay? But so the idea is to not get into that bend position, all right? And we're not overdoing it at the top, all right? All we're doing is we're locking this down first. We're pushing our glutes up towards the ceiling, like you're trying to reach those hip bones up, and we're engaging out and breaking the band, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 10 reps of this, holding 10 seconds, breaking the band at the top. Come down, take a rest for as long as you need to. Do everything, reinstitute everything again. Hit that neutral position with the lower back, okay? Engage one, engage two, thrust with the toes up, the hips towards the ceiling, hold for 10. Okay, you do that 10 times, right? All right, second exercise you're gonna do on the side, it's called side lying clamshell, okay? So we're basically gonna be in this like sexy position, like someone's about to come and spoon us, right? Knees are gonna be ahead of the hips. We're gonna keep, this guy's not gonna be way out here. It's gonna be stacking our joints. Our elbows gonna be directly underneath our shoulders. We're gonna push our hand down into the floor, push the elbow down into the floor. So we're getting some pressure away and activating these guys, right? We're gonna push our feet down into the floor, and then we're gonna push our knees down, this knee right here, down into the floor. And as we start to do that and start to push, you should feel everything on this side of our body start to turn on. All right, and then from that turn on position, we lift the hips up in that neutral, right? So everything's in line. And while we're in that position, we're gonna open up from here. So the idea is I don't want you to open up and turn, right? I want you to keep everything facing this way and then try to lift only from here, right? If you open up and twist or try to force the band open, either because it's too strong or you're too weak, then you're not activating in that upper portion of your glute, which is helping support your lower back, okay? So get a lower band, even if you have to take the band off, okay? So we're opening from here, holding without twisting, hold for 10 seconds, 10 times, just like the other one, and then we're going back down. Same thing. Make it all one motion. Push through the hand, push through the elbow, push through the feet and knee, raise, hit that neutral, open without twisting, hold for 10. And then down. You're gonna do it 10 times on each side. Idea is to work up to 10, okay? You don't have to do 10 right at the beginning. All right, so third strengthening exercise, we're gonna work on engaging that core, okay? So what we're gonna do is get into this position called the dead bug position, okay? Hands are gonna be right above the shoulders, right? Everything's stacked. We're gonna raise those knees up so the knee is in line with the hips and the foot is in line with the knee, okay? Everything's stacked, right? So just by doing that, you should feel your stomach turn on, all right? So I don't want you to get out of the arena of that arch position, okay? Remember we talked about that neutral earlier? We're engaging the stomach up, engage that lower belly, and then slowly we're gonna go opposite hand, opposite foot. Okay, so like the left hand goes down, and then the right foot extends out. So don't think down, think more like out towards the walls, right? And then you should feel this like strip across your belly that's activating and turning on, and really forcing you to keep that stuff in neutral and push your lower back towards the ground. And then we're gonna come back up, nice and slow. The idea with this is that you do this and hold until failure, okay? So nice and slow, pull back. And the more you do it to failure, as far as reps go, I mean, the more you do it to failure, the longer you'll be able to basically endure the action of sitting down, because now you have a stronger core to support your lower back, right? So everything's all done slow, really feeling and activating this area across that strip, right? So we're making like an X motion across, reaching, holding, and then back up. You got it? Doing to failure until you can't anymore. Okay, cool. All right, so we talked about that stretching in the front, right? So we got some glute activation in the back. We got, the strengthening in the front, right? Those 2 points, these right here, the opposite portions, lower back and the hips, now need to be stretched because those guys are tight, right? So what you do is get in that 90-90 position, make sure everything's stacked. Foot is underneath the knee is right in line with the hips, same thing vice versa on the other side, right? See the toes up in the back. So from here, what I want you to do, I want you to squeeze your underbutt forward. Like almost like you're trying to tell everybody tell everybody in jail you're not open for business, you know what I'm saying? So we tuck that under, keep it forward. What that's gonna do is it's gonna lock your hip forward and make sure that you're actually engaging through what they call those hip flexors. It's like a big complex of stuff that flexes your leg up, right? So just engage forward first, sit up nice and straight. We're opening all this up, right? And just by doing that alone, you should feel this guy turn on. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna reach up overhead, not across yet, just straight up overhead with all that engaged. We're not going forward either, not yet. So we're gonna reach up, lengthening the body straight up. We should feel that big stretch, okay? From a front view, it should look like this. All right, so we're reaching up, we get that engagement, big lengthening through the body, right? And now that we have that going on, we're gonna reach over and back, over and back. You got it? I want you to do this until you feel this thing right here. Either you can't keep that engagement because now you're getting tired from that squeeze in the butt, or you run into a loosening, okay? You know what I mean? When it starts to feel looser, okay? Once it hits that loosening point, just by moving back and forth, promoting blood flow, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our arm down, we're gonna sink ourselves forward until we get to that point where it feels like it's almost too much, and then we're gonna stay here for 20 seconds, okay? Hit that 20-second mark, we're gonna squeeze our butt more and drive that thing forward, got it? Leaning back and up, lengthening through, okay? And then we're gonna keep squeezing actively for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're gonna release it and sink a little bit deeper, okay? Then we're gonna do it again. We're gonna squeeze our butt 6 seconds. And then we're gonna release. Sink a little bit deeper. You're gonna do this 3 times, okay? On the 3rd time, once you get into, you're gonna be in this new deep stretch, nice and upright, feeling the stretch in here, and then you're gonna hold that for 60 seconds. So it's 20 seconds first, 6-second active release, and then 60 seconds just in that new position. Got it? Last one we're gonna do is called a pigeon stretch, okay? We're gonna add a little bit of twist to it, literally. So I suggest you do this on an elevated surface. It's a little bit easier on the leg. That's all you're gonna do. Put your hands on, put the knee on, okay? That's it. Super simple. The foot's gonna be off to the side of the hip of the leg that's extended in the back, right? So that leg in the back is nice and stretched. It's firm, it's not down. It's nice and long and lengthened in the back, okay? So just by doing this, you're probably gonna feel your butt on that side. You're probably gonna feel this all turn on because it's probably really tight, especially up towards this area, okay? So from that position, right? I want you to, it's probably gonna suck, but what I want you to do is I want you to take this leg right here. I want you to push it into the cushion. Okay, you can also do this on the floor, but I highly recommend you do it on an elevated surface. So you can get like in there, you know what I'm saying? Get up in there. So pushing that knee down, pushing this leg down into whatever you got it mounted on. And then we're gonna turn a little bit to the side. So from this angle, right? It's like you're pushing that leg down into the cushion, and then we're turning into, almost like we're trying to jut our hip out this way. And just by doing that, you're probably gonna feel that thing turn on, right? So pushing down into it and then jutting outwards and then coming back. So we're working on mobility, right? Difference between stretching and mobility. Sitting side to side. The mobility and stretching, mobility is more about how all the joints operate, how all the muscles operate around the joint, whereas stretching is usually isolated to an area and usually only involves a certain amount of muscles, right? Like usually it's isolated to like a hamstring or a quad, right? But it doesn't really have that much of an effect about how the actual joint operates, right? Like you'd be stretching the back of your leg, but not the front of your leg at the same time. So tilting back and forth. If you can, what I want you to do is be able to turn, almost like you're turning your body, but I want you to keep that nice and upright posture and turn about the spine, right? So we're not leaning down and turning, right? We're staying upright and we're just twisting a little bit, jutting that hip out, right? Just that little bit should be enough to just like, you're gonna feel that thing stretch, okay? You're gonna do this for about 10 times or until you start to feel it loosen up, right? Just like we talked about before. You start to feel it loosen up, then we're gonna go into that stretch, okay? Now that we have that bad boy, we're gonna get that nice stretch, straight position. We're gonna push into the pad slightly, and then we're gonna lean forward into it. So we're not bending forward, right? Not curling ourselves down. We're almost like we're leaning from our stomachs right here. Like we're trying to push from there and then pivot from the hip, okay? So from there, leaning, pressing, holding 20 seconds. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna push down into the same thing that we did with the previous exercise. We're gonna push down into the mat with our knee, hold 6 seconds, and then we're gonna release and try to lean a little bit more into it. Same thing, make sure that back leg's lengthened, push down into the pad, hold 6 seconds, release, get a little bit more into it. One more, last one, push down into it, hold 6 seconds, and then release. And then while we're in that new position, we hold for 60 seconds or until we start to feel it go, okay? That's it. So all those exercises basically gonna be done every single day, strengthening and stretching, and you're gonna be doing probably about 2 sets of each, okay? You're gonna feel a significant improvement in what's going on in your hips and in your belly, but you gotta stay consistent with it, right? Push yourself with some of the exercises, but not at the risk of hurting your lower back. Listen to your body, right? All the focus should be on the area that we talked about. If there's issues, just let me know and then we can adjust, okay?